guys, out here in the shop doing a quick, hopefully quick overhaul or repair on our K5 heater control. And I ordered a kit from LMC a while back. It was on back order for a while, but it's in now. And we're going to change these arms. Typically they break, you know, it's cable controlled. And when the cables get stiff, people lean on these knobs too hard and break the arms. So it's a common problem. So there's several people out there that make these kits, LMC being one of them. Part number on this one was 32-0620. It was $29.95. So real reasonably priced for what you get. And not only do you get the arms and new knobs, but you also get a new faceplate. So we're going to freshen it up a little bit and fix this control. There's only one control arm on mine that's broke, but we'll change them all while we're in here. Now, I wasn't going to film this because there's several YouTube videos out there already that kind of address this problem. I think Brothers puts one out, and I think there's some independent guys that do as well. But I couldn't find anybody that had one exactly like this one for some reason, and we'll get to that in a minute. At least the area in which it's different. And well, let's look at it now. I've already started to whittle on it a little bit, and as I was doing it, that's when I decided I probably should film it, and so maybe this will help somebody else out as well. But there used to be another little rivet. It's not really a rivet. It's part of the casting of whatever this, you know, aluminum, pot metal, whatever it is. A little pin would stick up through this plate, and then they swedge it over, which holds the bottom pivot point. You know, it retains the pivot point for the pivot on all three arms. And I believe the ones that are on YouTube have a different retention. I think it's got a circlip on here or a little E-clip or something that pops off, and then the arms slide off. So mine is a little bit different, and I'm not sure yet how to fix this problem. But hopefully I will by the end of the video here. But I ground or use my Dremel tool to just take the head of this little swedged area off, and now I'm going to do this one on this side. All right, that's real soft metal, so it comes off or works off there real easy. Let's see if we can work that plate up. Yeah. All right, nice. Popped right off of there. That's what we got to figure out, how to put that back on, and how we're going to retain it on there. That is the bottom side too, so it's going to want to fall off. So we'll get to that here in a minute. Well, one more thought on that, if somebody's brave enough to try it out. But I thought about, here's the other end of that pin that goes through, that retains all those arms, and I thought about grinding the top of this off until it exposed the pin, and then try to pull the pin out of the top side of it. But I didn't really know how thick that casting was, and you know, I was just thinking that if somebody was brave enough to try that, then maybe you could create a well, let's see, if that's that cap and you wind up grinding off until you get to the pin in the center of it. Once you get the pin out of there, you could create a little tab, that maybe a Z-tape shaped tab with a screw in it right here. That's not a very good looking screw, is it? That maybe you can pick up one of these holes or create a threaded hole like right there. So a little Z-shaped tab to retain the pin right there. So that might be another way to solve this problem, and maybe after we get this center pin out, or all these arms off there, we'll be able to check to see if that's a feasible plan or not. All right, so let's see, how do we get these apart? Might be, first thing maybe to take, well, those are swedged on there as well. The new ones are not swedged. The new ones have a little star washer there, actually 2 different star washers. Is it 2? Probably 2, because there's 2, one, yeah, one that goes here and one that holds the cable on. So instead of being swedged on like the old ones, they use a star washer to retain it to this this arm here. So I think I can get this one out. A little plastic block slide over to an open spot. Kind of a puzzle to get it out of there. Let's see if I can swing this around. There we go. All right, well, that'll be easier to work on, or to grind that swedge off without messing up this arm out of the heater unit here. And maybe we'll throw, this is copper, and maybe run through the bead blaster and then paint, and that'll look a little better too. So the rest of these, the bottom 2 copper arms look identical. Let's see, all 3 look identical, so there shouldn't be any, at least in mine anyways, there shouldn't be any danger in mixing these up. So let me get these off and cleaned up, and then we'll go from there. All right, these are a little bit better pot metal, I think, because they're a little bit harder to get the Dremel tool to chew on it. But I figured out drilling it first, right in the center, and taking out most of the material with the drill, and then coming back in and taking the rest of the head off with the Dremel tool works pretty good. Now, you don't have to worry about getting into this copper arm, because it's got a pretty good size hole in it, and it sits on a flange on that arm. So let's see, I just got thinking that maybe I ought to number these, so it makes it a little bit easier going back together. This is the top of the unit, and this is number 2, so second one down. And this is number 3, and this one, let's see, went in like that, is number 1. So maybe that'll help us put it back together, especially if we get distracted and I don't get this done today, which is a distinct possibility. All right, that popped right off of there. Let's see if we can work it down to this end. How did I do that with the other one? Ooh, what about, oh, no, that's not going to work. Let's see. Get all that out of the way on the inside. All right. All right, double check to make sure those are the same. Yes, they look identical. All right, so one more to do here. Drill. Kind of supported it with my screwdriver there, so when I put a little pressure on it, it doesn't bend the arm. I didn't do a real good job of drilling that one in the center. Upsize it a little bit. All right, let's see if we can finish it off with the Dremel. All right, let's see if we can get that one to pop off of there. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, push you off to the side. Slide you out. Make sure that one's the same. Yep, all the same. See, this is the bottom, so I'm going to call this one 3B. 2B and 1B. All right, that bottom one, or the top one actually, so 1B there is in a different, it's got 2 parts to it, is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's see if I can slide this one off. Let's see, let me get a thinner screwdriver. All right. 3B. Well, that one slides off a little easier. 2B, number 2, and let's see, number 1. All right, I see here's a washer that looks like it, a little spacer that's got some spring to it, and the springs were down, or actually up since we got it upside down, but I'm going to go ahead and put that back on the shaft, on the hinge point, and let me see if we can pull that hinge out. Oh, it's knurled to hold it in that hole. So that method that we talked about earlier about grinding this cap off and pulling it up might be a little bit difficult in the fact that you may have to take a Dremel tool or something with a cutter on it and cut all the way around it, enough to leave a portion of this hinge pin sticking up where you could grab it with some pliers and pull it up from the other direction. So still, I think it's an option. I don't see any reason why you couldn't do it that way. We're not going to be changing this arm. I don't believe it came in the kit. 1, 2, 3 different arms. So no, this one didn't come in the kit. If this arm is broken on yours, then you probably have to get another part or do something else, because it wasn't part of at least the LMC rebuild kit. All right, a little ACF 50 there to try to work down into that one to lubricate it. Huh, got some kind of crud on there, some kind of, it looks like it's almost like a caulk. Strange. All right, a little more ACF 50, get that working on this one. And now let's see if we can stack those pins back in there, or the arms back in there. Let's see, number 1, which is this one, 302. 2687. Tell you what, I'm gonna get things cleaned up here before we go dumping parts out, and also I'm gonna get these arms cleaned up and get the paint drying on them, and then we'll tackle this. Hey, by the way, fellas, these are not copper. They're copper coated, which I guess that makes sense. Be too soft if they were all copper. All right, hey, where were we? I get disrupted by phone calls and visitors, and then I gotta start all over again here. Let's see, let's try to figure this out. We were putting, I'm gonna dry fit these control arms to make sure I got them, I know how to put them back in. I still gotta figure out something to do to retain this pin. I think I got an idea. But I want to kind of dry fit things. That's one. Let's see, here's two. All right, two. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. What's up with that? Where's the old two? Huh. You see, this little catch right here catches on that one, so when you slide this one over, it pulls that one that direction for some reason. I'm not sure why. But this one misses. What the heck? Oh, this one you can see, maybe you can see it, it's cast on an angle there. Let me get a straight edge. It's got a little ridge here, so it's not going to sit on a straight edge perfect, but you see that? Let's see this other one. Here's the original number 2. Let's see if I can get you in there right. All right. I think that one's got a slight angle to it, but this one, definitely more of an angle. Huh. What the heck? Sorry, not putting you in frame there. Trying to figure this out. Let's see. Is that evident to you? But this one actually is cast higher. Let me see. Look at this gap here. Now let's swap places with these. I'll put the old one on the top. Let's see. Line everything up. Whoa. Definitely this one's tweaked up. Looks like this arm is maybe a little bit longer too. All right, that one, the new one is shorter. Go this way. All right, so that's just the old banana deal where depends on which one is on top, I guess. Because now the new one's, oh, the new one is shorter. So yeah, the arm is shorter. On the center line there, yep, definitely. So, wow, I don't know what to make of all that. Definitely a different casting here, different part number, different deal. Let me try to figure out what function that is. That is the bottom, so we would be upside down. So the temperature and the outlets is what we're talking about here. The two bottom arms in this, the way we got it upside down here. So outlet temperature, when you go towards, let me flip this over, when you go towards stand by. All right, I'm still not sure I understand it, but this one says outlets. I don't know if you can read that. And that's the two. It's the two upper ones that we're dealing with, the middle one and the upper one. So when you slide the outlets control towards heater, it pulls the upper one from inside to outside air as it goes through the heater. So I'd have to look at the ducking to really understand that and figure out what's going on. But if I use the new bracket or the new arm that they gave me, or that they didn't give me anything, they sold me, that function does not work. So what's our choices here? I can try to bend this down, and I may try that, but this stuff probably does not bend very well before it breaks. And then if that happens, I'm going to have to try to fix this one, or I can just leave it the way it is and not, I may just even cut that arm off. You know what I'll do? I'll bend it. If it bends, it works. If it doesn't, if it breaks, that's fine too. Then I'll just trim it up and smooth it up and use it without it. Because now, if I just left it the way it is, when I put this one on, now, since that little catch arm has been up so high, it now catches on the top arm, or actually what it, it's really the bottom arm. So let's give this a tweak, see if I can chuck it up in the vise there and then just bend it down ever so gently. All right, actually that was pretty easy. It didn't act like it wanted to fail at all. It bent nicely, so let's hope I got it right. All right, so that looks good. Pulls that. It's barely catching about the thickness of the arm, so that's fine. But let's put on the third one, the bottom one, and see if that one swings without catching. Boy, there's still some rubbing going on here. Yeah, let's see if I put this plate on here, kind of supports that center pin. Figure out which way this goes on. This way. There we go. Yeah, it's still got to come down some. A lot of slop in that. Gosh. May try to tweak it down just a wee bit more. All right, still good. It's still in one piece. Oh boy. All right, let's see. Well, oh, there we go. Well, I didn't gain much on it. I didn't bend it. I didn't move it much, so maybe we didn't do any good. No, gotta go more. Well, I don't move that time, and you can actually start to see a little bit of a curve here in it. So, let's see if we can tell. Yeah, not real pretty. Oops, let me get you in frame there. It looks like it's straighter or closer to the way the other one is, but with a curve in it. So let's give her a whirl. Yeah, it definitely catches a little deeper on that one. Now, all right, still a little bit of catch there. If the hinge wasn't, or if the hinge hole on this one wasn't so wallered out, or cast so big, it'd do a little better. Let's see if they're all that way. Yeah, kind of wibbly wobbly. Might get a little bit more support when we put the other pieces on it, because it has a little glider that glides in the track out there, so might be all right. I mean, definitely passes, but there's some rub in there. And I could hit the top of that with the grinder as well, but I don't think I'm going to bend it anymore. Let's see, you know, the other thing is when we turn it over, maybe gravity helps us here. So this one moves freely. This one, catch pulls both of them over. That arm's shorter, so I wonder if we're not going to get, it won't get as far on that second lever as it would, or it's going to pull it farther over. And then the bottom, all right, so gravity helps us, and hopefully the slider will help it stay in alignment as well. So we're going to press on with that. We still got to figure this out, how we're going to retain this. And then before we put it all together, we'll grease it up, grease that hinge point up. All right, I think I got this figured out. I don't have the hardware here to get it done yet, but I'll have to go out to the airport and pick up some hardware. But this is an AN, it's a 525, I believe, AN10 screw. A bolt will work just fine as well, but it's just slightly too short. But the diameter is perfect. It's a 182.182, and that's the exact same size as the pin here. So 0.182, which is what, 3/16 of an inch. So I get the right shanked bolt, and we'll be able to pull this pin out, drill that casting out. The bolt can come in from this side. We may be able to take some of this nubby off here if we want. And then once we drill the center, drill the center of this out to a 10 size as well with a 10 number 10 drill bit, the bolt will stick up through it. We can put a little reduced dimension nut on there and draw it down nice and tight, which then will hold this plate on those two pins right there. It would just be two alignment pins at that point. So that should work great once I get the right hardware. But right now, not a whole lot we can do to it right now until we get that hardware. I did paint this piece, shot some. This is a semi-gloss or a satin black, I think is what the can says, Krylon, and I used the old plate here, put the old plate back on it, took some lacquer thinner on a rag and wiped off the paint off of the top surface here to bring that that chrome back. So we're all ready to go there. Should be in good shape. Let's see how it looks with the new glass on it. All right, so mucho better, a lot better. Nice. All right, it's been a couple of days since I filmed that last bit of chaos that was going on this messy workbench here, but I think I've accumulated the right parts to make it happen. Having a couple of days of milling around doing other stuff gave me opportunity to think about how I wanted to solve this. I think the last time we talked, we were going to use an AN525 bolt, and I just needed to find a little bit longer one. But I decided I was going to run by Home Depot and pick up a piece of 3/16 rod and cut some threads on the end of it. That's what I did here. Cut threads on that end of it, and then I was going to just weld or braze a washer on the end of it, and then I mic'd it, and that's not 3/16. So what is 3/16? 0.187. This is well, it's smaller than that. So I have a metal lathe, so why not just make the pin that I need? And that's what I did. Took a piece of bronze and lathed it down, trimmed it down, cut it down, and cut some threads on the end of it, and made it the size I wanted. Perfect. So now we need to remove this old pin. Let's see, I put an arrow on this saying it's pointing towards me, because that's how everything should be oriented, towards me. And that way when I drill this center hole out, I won't be forcing the thing. I don't think this is all right in a row. It might be, but it looks to me like it's a little bit cattywampus. Maybe not. But anyways, we'll make sure we get it back in the right direction. And we'll take the pin out. Won't need it anymore. I got a 3/16 drill bit in my drill here. And let's see, throw something down to drill into. Tight chuck always helps. Alright, that's easy. Alright, let's see if it works. Our pin, oh boy. Drill bit's too small. What would I do? You probably should start with the right size drill bit. Alright, that should do it. Alright, let's see if that pin will fit now. Hear that. Slide our pin in. Now we had a little washer here with some springs on them to give it a little tension. I'm not sure we're going to need that. I'm going to stick it on there now to see. We'll be able to put tension on it with the nut. So let me try it with and without that. All right, so one bottom. I'm going to stick this together without the other part of the arm now, just to see how things are working. Two arms still catching, and then three. See how our threads look. Yeah, might be close. And let me drill this plate. All right. Oh, I think the boy just got home. All right, the bolt's looking mighty short, or my pin that I made. We've got a couple of different options for nuts here. That is a standard 1032 fiber lock. Here's a reduced dimension nut, which might work better. And we got some ways to add some length to this bolt, but let's see how we're looking. Yeah, we're bolts either a little bit too short or well, not planned it this way, of course. We can trim off this this casting down here and gain a little bit. We need to gain about 2 threads worth. So I'm going to take off about 1/4 of that casting right there, which will then move the bolt forward, move the bolt up. Yeah, I probably took more like half of it, but I just stacked a couple of washers on it and then hit it with my flapper disc so it would be nice and flat. So should let's see how we're doing distance wise or spacing wise. Let's see, number 1, number 2, number 3, plate. I think that's going to be plenty of thread sticking up there now. So may even be able to use that fiber lock nut. A little short for that. So yeah, we should have about a thread or so sticking through on that. I'm confident that that's going to work. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and put some lubricant on this pin. Now I shouldn't need much, and I think I'm going to put some dry film lubricant on it so it won't collect any dirt. But yeah, I got a brass pin going into pot metal there, so it won't need much lubricant. All right, a little graphite lube, and we're going to put the washer in. It seemed to work fine with it. It's been its home for 40 years. Might as well leave it there, huh? Let's see, 2, 3, plate, alignment pins, and nut. All right, now we're gonna need a little something to hold on to that stud. All right, just light tension on that. All right, those feel good. Plate's good and tight. Feel like that's gonna work. All right, I sprayed some of that graphite lube on these pivot sliders, whatever you want to call them, and it's a little messier than I wanted it to be, a little dirtier, but yeah, hopefully not too much of that will be visible. Let's see if we can wiggle them in there. All right, that slides in well. Let's see, flip it over here. Oh, look at that, it slid right out too. Wonder if I ought to start. Yeah, I think I ought to start with the bottom one first. Oh man, I should take it. There we go. Scrape that Made in Taiwan sticker off of there. I don't need that complicating things. All right, bottom one's in. Get it on the pin. Well, that can't be right. Oh, what the heck? I must have the arm in backwards, huh? Boy, can you guys see in there? I can't. All right. Oh, look at that. Slick. All right, let me see if I can figure out which one of these little star washers that come in the bag. Oh, Made in Taiwan. All right. I think the smaller hole one, this one probably holds the cable on, and this one's going to hold that pivot point there on. Now let's try to figure out a good way of sliding those on there. That didn't seem so hard. Maybe a socket to push it down a little farther. All right, I just picked up a socket on a nut driver, and I'm going to support the bottom of this arm with my finger underneath here. This, of course, this is the, oh, this is not the arm that started all this, but probably any of these could be broken fairly easy. I didn't really feel like it went down that far. Well, it went all the way down to the step. So let's see. Yeah, that's good. All right, one down. It's kind of interesting. Looks like they had to cast a little notch in this. Let's see, I get the arms out of the way. In this frame to get that to go in that way. Well, and it's still a little trickery. There we go. All right, arm number 2. Oh, this one's in a bag in a bag. Oh, I meant business on this one. Okay. All right, 2 down. Single bag on that one. And last one. This is the one that started all this. So lots of support. Push her on down. All All right. Let's see. All right, faceplate. Plastic faceplate. All right, then the chrome cover, bezel. All right, this faceplate is held on with some little tabs along the side here, and mine happens to be missing one because they're, it's pot metal and it can only be bent realistically probably once, and I'm not sure how to roll that over. All right, just like that. Didn't get that one far enough. All right, got it on there now. Feels secure. Now, knobs. These knobs are a little bit different than the originals. I kind of like the shapes of the originals. I think the originals are a little bit heavier. I think these are all plastic and this is some kind of pot metal, chromed. Now let's see how these repose. Well, it went on there with a nice firm feel, like it's gonna stay on there well. And that one maybe not quite as well. It's pretty good grip. And that one certainly went on well. All right, remember when we were looking at that arm and how it pulls the other one over? So when you go, if you got it in heater mode and defroster, de-ice defroster, I guess, and you're going to air, I guess that's the vents on the side, then yeah, inside air pulls this towards air conditioning. I think that, well, I'm sure, haven't messed with the rigging on this, but the cable, what turns the AC on, it drove me nuts for a while. Couldn't figure out where the switch was that switched the AC on. When I was working on the wiring harness, it's mounted to the plenum, the AC heater box where the heater core and all. We'll get to that later, but it's actually just a little pin switch, a fairly good sized pin switch. But when you push this lever over to AC, pulls the cable, moves that diverter valve until there's an arm that pushes up against that pin switch. So I would imagine that in this direction you can get outside or inside air, outside air to blow out the inlets coming out of the dash, but you have to go all the way over here to get the AC to come on. And then of course that's just a diverter valve for the going across the heater core. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Hopefully we can get the rigging set up on this, be a little bit different with our setup. Just in the fact that we don't have a vacuum pump, and there was one vacuum valve on this truck that ran, well, it was for the inside and the outside, so the recirculation air and the fresh air positions. So see what we can do about that. Normally Yeah, we can probably see it right here. Normally this would be hooked up here, and as you moved between those two positions, it would, you know, open up this port and change that. It was a giant diaphragm valve mounted on the firewall, and I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to hook that up because to be honest with you, I took the valve out, so it's going to be in fresh air all the time, and then I don't have to worry about a vacuum pump. So call this one done. Valuation of this LMC kit. I liked it. Everything I think is pretty good quality. The arms, you know, we saw the problems with that arm not being at the right angle. I'm not sure. I'm sure this is the same arm kit for lots of different vintage year models and you know, C10 pickup trucks and Suburbans and all of them, and maybe they need a different arm position, or maybe it's just cast wrong, but wasn't too hard to overcome. I think this was a good fix for the pin. Like I said, there's several people, like check out the brothers video. They show putting one of these together with their new arms and new face and all that stuff, but it's a different pivot pin arrangement here than this one had. I think their kit is exactly the same, probably comes from the same manufacturer, but I think we came up with a pretty good solution, pretty good workaround to get us back going here. All right, hope that helps. Everybody stay well. Oh yeah, and one more thing. If I forget where I put these little clips to hold the cables on, will you guys remind me? Because what's the chances of losing those before I put it back together?